I'm Michelle Sizemore, and I am the Senior Vice President of Product Operations for Athleta, as well as I oversee the Gap Inc. Product Innovation Initiatives, again, across the enterprise. I'm really pleased to be here this afternoon to welcome you on behalf of Gap Inc., our family, focusing on the business case for carbon tax. It's a real honor, and it's very important to us as an organization. And I'll just tell you a little bit about Gap Inc. and tell you a little bit about the brand Athleta as well, and why we decided to get involved in today's event. Gap Inc. was founded by Don and Doris Fisher in 1969. And they had a vision of creating a global brand with a purpose and not just about making clothes. And nearly 50 years later, Athleta and Gap Inc.'s family of all of our brands, we are continually motivated by a shared vision that being a force for good makes good business sense. So again, we are so honored to have you here. It's really important to us. It's important to who we are as an organization and to our values. Let me tell you a little bit about Athleta. Athleta is one of our brands inside of our portfolio, and Athleta is a mission-driven brand. And it's a mission-driven brand. The mission is to ignite a community of women and girls to uplift one another to reach their potential. And how we bring that mission to life is really critical. It's the how. And I'm super excited to let you guys know, if you don't know, this past spring, Athleta earned our B Corp certification. I love sharing that, and it's interesting how many people don't know this. And again, it's not only what we stand for, but it's how we do it, which is super critical. And so what that makes is Gap Inc. is now one of the world's largest publicly traded retail companies with a B Corp certified subsidiary. And we are going to continue on this path, and we want to encourage our other brands and our competitors around the world to do the same. So the other thing about Athleta is 80% of our product environmental impact is tied to the decisions that we make when we are building our product. So really around the fibers that we select, the materials we select, the types of manufacturing technologies, how much water we're using. The other thing that is really important to us is the timing by which we make these decisions. So it's really important that we're still relevant in the consumer eyes and being right with fashion. But when we make the decision, will allow us to move our materials and our products once they're manufactured to our customer in the best possible way, having as small of an impact as we possibly can. So giving ourselves, so all of these decisions that we make in the brand, from when you walk in our door to the person that's running the mailroom, to the people making the materials selection through it, it's not a team that sits outside in some room and tells us what to do. This is inherent in every single person that works at our brand, and that's why we can actually really make such a positive impact, which is cool. And a lot of people ask me, what's the secret with Athleta? And there's three things. It's when we can combine beauty and functionality with sustainability. That is the magic of our brand, because one without the other, that's what we have found. So we combine the three together, and that's what our magic sauce is. So when people ask, tell them we want everybody to do it. So we recognize environmental issues are fundamentally human rights issues. And we are currently working at Gap Inc. to cut our greenhouse gas emissions across our owned and operated facilities in half by 2020. And that is a big statement, and we are active on it, and we are on our way to achieve our goal. The other thing that we're also working to set a science-based target goal for our entire supply chain. So that is huge. We're in the process of developing it, and so more to come on that. So again, really thrilled on behalf of Gap Inc. To host this event. We are honored. We know that there is, you're going to start Richard. I'm going to pass over to Richard, who is co-chairing the event, and I think we're going to start and kick it off by a panel. So I'll turn it over to you so we can get started, and then we'll see you at the end of the day, and we're going to host a little event as well here about, I think, around 5 o'clock when we end. So you guys, thank you for being here. Can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing, and just really honored. And with that, Richard,
Michelle,
turn it over.
Thank you and your colleagues so much for hosting us today.
Yeah, and everybody in the room that helped put this together. A lot of people, really. So do good work. We can't wait. Thank you so much, you guys. Good. Thank you.
Well, great. Well, welcome, everyone. Hi, I'm Richard Idland, one of the co-organizers of the Carbon Tax Forum, my colleague Harold Hedelman, who you'll hear from in a moment. And we're really thrilled that you're here today. And this is an opportunity to talk about a particular solution to the large-scale problem of climate change. And that solution is putting a price on carbon and establishing a tax. So today's conversation includes a variety of points of view from the right to the left about how we tax something that we need less of. And we're going to look at a number of different solutions, both that apply at the federal level and at the state level, and have 5 panels for you today that will take you through a number of different perspectives. And we're quite enthusiastic about what we put together today because it includes NGO perspectives, social justice, political, meaning elected leaders, and a number of environmental organizations and think tanks that have been really involved in thinking about a carbon tax and how it would work. So what we hope you get out of today's program is a better understanding of how you'd actually establish a tax, where do you set the price, what do you do with the revenues, and the impact that that will have on the broader economy. We haven't designed this program to endorse one particular point of view, and as you'll hear, there are in fact a number of perspectives, all valid, all politically calculated to achieve success, and each of those views from the right and the left are designed to help solve a number of common problems. So format-wise, we're going to work quickly. We're going to really try to stay on time. And rather than have you pose questions by raising your hand and having a microphone to ask that question, we're going to ask that you jot those questions down. Excuse me, and we have runners who will pick those questions up. So if you want a card, a 3x5 card, to write your question down, they'll bring them up to the moderators, and we'll sort through them and try to answer as many of those questions as possible. So thank you all for being here, and Harold, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Richard. Can I be heard okay? Oh, great, thanks. Well, I want to welcome you on behalf of Business Climate Leaders, which is an action team of Citizens Climate Lobby. I really thank you for being here. I know we share something really important by being here today, so thank you. I also want to thank the wonderful team of Business Climate Leader volunteers, both in the room and around the country, who worked really hard to put this together. And thanks likewise also to the CCL volunteers in the room today who's helped to get registered and checked in and everything. We're a fantastic team. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Business Climate Leaders and also about Citizens Climate Lobby, and then we'll kick off the first panel. About 4 years ago, before Business Climate Leaders existed, I was organizing a public panel, believe it or not, on the topic, can the right and left agree on a price on carbon? We're a little closer today. We're not there, but we're closer. At the very end of that panel, one panelist stood up and gave us a challenge. He talked to the audience and said, if you're from Citizens Climate Lobby, I have a challenge for you. Talk to the big retailers like Gap. Show them how your proposal will put money in the pockets of their consumers, of their customers, and watch them line up to support you. That was the last thing that was said. People clapped, they rose, they were leaving, but a group of us, CCLers, gathered and we decided to take that challenge on. And that was the beginning of Business Climate Leaders. The panelist who stood up was Bill Shireman from Future 500, one of our sponsors today. And Bill and his team at Future 500 have supported us in the interim. So I really want to thank Bill. I don't know if he made it today.
He's supposed to.
He's supposed to. Eric is over here, and if you want to hear more about Future 500, find Eric. Terrific group. They helped us every day since then in learning how to work with businesses, how to find the middle path and be successful at that. BCL is an action team of Citizens Climate Lobby. We have a number of action teams, and this is one of our more dynamic ones. We have the goal of, broadly speaking, engaging businesses and encouraging their participation in advancing a national carbon tax. So we're focused on that, just like CCL. And what's been important is that once we start working with companies, we try and provide the role of informing and educating and helping them understand how a carbon tax can affect their company and what kinds of nuances there are that they need to think about before they take steps towards advocacy. So that's what we do. We would hope, for example, that if any of you are from companies that want to learn more, we'd have a conversation, figure out what next steps are that might lead to talking about the carbon pricing principles. Hopefully some of you have taken a little look at them. They were on your chairs. And after talking about the principles, that might lead to discussing opportunities for joint advocacy. That's the kind of trajectory that we like to see happen. So we'll talk more about business climate leaders in the last panel today. But now I want you to know a little bit about Citizens Climate Lobby, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here. We probably wouldn't be here. Well, I just want to say that both in Congress and nationwide, CCL has done more than any organization that I know of to promote awareness of carbon taxes as a foundational solution to climate change. The root of CCL's success is the value it places on relationships. For volunteers, that means we provide them a really deep infrastructure of support that empowers their advocacy. For the people that we lobby, it means that when we get into a lobby meeting, even with the darkest, deepest climate denier, we treat them with appreciation and respect. And because of that core value, we've been able to do some amazing things in Congress. For example, catalyze the creation and the growth of the Climate Solutions Caucus in the House, which now, as if you don't know, has 43 Republicans and 43 Democrats in its ranks. And even if some of those are there for the greenwashing, we see that as a success because they at least recognize that they need to do that to stay in office. If you're from CCL, well, I want to tell you why they joined. Those members of Congress joined because we asked them. How did we get access? We got access because CCL has chapters that cover every district in the country, every congressional district. They asked because we met with them over 1,700 times last year. We published over 4,300 letters to the editor, op-eds, and editorials around the country. Held several thousand meetings with community meetings to stir up public support for action on climate. So those are all reasons they joined. And I want to say that it's important to do this kind of work at the grassroots level in addition to the work that we do, which is with businesses both large and small. If you're from CCL, either on staff or as a volunteer, just kind of raise your hand. And those of you who are not with CCL, look around. These are people you can talk to if you are interested in Citizens Climate Lobby. So thank you. Given that this is a climate action summit, I wanted to say that because I wanted you to realize that CCL is really taking a lot of actions at the grassroots level. And I think that what we do demonstrates the beginning of, as Van Joan puts it, bipartisanship from the bottom up. And businesses, I think both big and small, have a really crucial role to play in making that happen. So let's head it.
Good, thanks. Good, Harold, thank you. And why don't we have the first panel